Okay, so for our last session of the day, right, it all comes down to what that local government allows. PACE does not exist that the local government does not pass an ordinance. PACE is completely reliant on the local building code, both for retrofit and for new build. And so with more municipalities increasing their standards and their requirements, and in Missouri, municipalities requiring benchmarking where you can collect that data, report it out, as well as having to meet a certain standard, PACE, as all of our speakers before, can play a really big role in that. And so our next two speakers, to kind of put a bow on everything, are going to talk about how PACE can really play a role for both the property owner and the municipality in achieving policy goals and cost saving structures and meeting the local requirements. So I'm really happy that we were able to bring KATARÍNA here from the city of St. Louis to talk about what they are doing, why are they doing it, what the next 12 to 24 months look like. And then after her will be Stephen with Asset Environments, who has done more than 100 PACE assessments, along with a variety of their energy analysts, knows what building code requirements are, how they work, and how they're going to impact your property. So with that, I'll hand it over to you two. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is KATARÍNA, MICHALOVÁ, and I represent City of St. Louis Office of Building Performance. I am a program manager. And a little bit about myself. I am environmental engineer by trade. I've been with the City of St. Louis for over 10 years now, so yay to the vacation time. And in current role, I've been for over a year and a half. I'm going to tell you more about City of St. Louis building energy performance standards and how you can use PACE to meet and hopefully to exceed these standards. Next slide, please. Okay, so to start from the beginning, city has climate action goal where we would like our greenhouse gases emissions to be lowered by 100% by year 2050 from its 2005 levels. One of the greenhouse gases emitters, the biggest one in our city of St. Louis comparing to other cities, is our buildings. 80% of our buildings are the largest greenhouse gases emitters. To fight that, in 2018, and next slide, please, our board of aldermen signed benchmarking ordinance. So what is benchmarking? Benchmarking means that all large buildings over 50,000 square feet have to submit their energy usage to the City of St. Louis, which is Office of Building Performance. When I'm talking about the large buildings, I'm talking about residential, commercial, institutional, and also our own municipal buildings. And these are buildings over 50,000 square feet. We do have some exemptions for these buildings. For example, if your building has manufacturing or any other industrial purposes, you can be exempt, as well as data center or wastewater treatment facility. There could be some exemption on occupancy status. So all that benchmarking data, it is submitted to us on annual basis, and it's always due next year on May 1st. So for example, right now we're in year 2023, and we are still collecting 2022 benchmarking data. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So tied to benchmarking ordinance in 2018, in 2020, Building Energy Performance Standard Ordinance was signed by our Board of Aldermen. What does it mean? It means that all buildings, large buildings, need to be energy efficient. The way the ordinance is written, we would like the largest polluters, so this is 65% of the worst performing buildings, to lower their energy usage. Our metric is weather normalized site EUI intensity in 1,000 British terms. Standards for calculating by using local benchmarking data, which was submitted to us in 2018. The board was created for this purpose, and it is called Building Energy Improvement Board. And board look at those data, and they set up the standards in year 2021. Next slide. So these standards are set. When they receive 2018 data, they look at all these benchmarking data for example, here for multifamilies. If you look at this graph, you see that they put mark where they would outline 65% of the worst performing buildings. So the standard for multifamily is 42.5 thousand British dirham per square footage. Next slide. So these standards were set for each building type. We do have 22 building types in St. Louis. If you look at this chart, it will tell you that on the bottom, we have non-refrigerated warehouse where the standard is 17, comparing to hospital, grocery store, or labs, which are on the top. This tells you that hospitals, grocery store, and libraries are more energy intensive usage comparing to the warehouse. So the warehouse has the most stringent BEPS target of 17. Here comes some questions. For example, what if your building is mixed use? What if your building has 60% of offices and rest of them are research or labs? In this case, you would reach out to us and we would calculate weighted target to you, taking in consideration the usage of the buildings you have. For example, office and labs. So your target will be different. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is happening right now? So our building energy performance standard timeline, we are in the first cycle. Majority of the buildings have a 4-year cycle. Affordable houses and churches are on a 6-year cycle. And if you can see on our chart, year 2024, which is next year, is our evaluation year. So right now we are using language. You are either on a track to comply or you're not on a track to comply. But next year will be deciding year, will be decided if your building is in compliance with building energy performance standards or not. Year 2025, this will be the year where all these benchmarking data for year 2024 will be due May 1st. So this is what we call a gap year. We'll look at all the data and we'll issue fines to the building who are not in compliance with building energy performance standard. And then the standards will be reset for next cycle, according to our ordinance, which outlines that 65% of the building, the worst performing building, needs to be in compliance with BEPS. Next. Okay, as I mentioned, our next year is evaluation year or verification year. So this is the year of the cycle with the benchmarking data needs to be verified by the third party, certified third party. So if your staff is benchmarking a building, you need to hire a certified verifier to benchmark the data. Also, if you're using consultant to benchmark your data, you need to hire different consultant, which will be another certified person to verify the data. So that verification is only required for that last year of the cycle, that verification year. Next. All right, so how to get into compliance? Ideally, all the buildings would implement all energy improvements this year to go in effect for next year. We have 4 pathways how to get there. Early adopter is one of those where building is performing very well. Standard performance is the one where we would like to see every building to pursue. Narrow the gap and customs are only for the buildings who are far away to reach this target. Next slide. Okay, so the performance, standard performance, that means that your building meets or it is below building energy performance standard for your type of the buildings. If you're already on a track, just keep doing a good job. Next. Okay, early adopters. So these are for really good performing buildings. If you reduce your EUI by 20% or 50% from your baseline and from your target, you can be compliant for 2 cycles or for 3 cycles. Next. Narrow the gap. So this is one of the special way of how to get in compliance. Basically, narrow the gap means your building will get more time to comply with building energy performance standard instead of year 2024. One of the requirements is that your building had to benchmark in year 2018, which is our baseline. So narrow the gap will be we basically will meet us in the middle. It is comparing your 2018 benchmarking data and BEPS target, and we'll meet in the middle. Building owners have to keep in mind that this pathway is only valid for first 2 building cycles, which basically ends in year 2030. So again, only gives you a little bit more time to get into compliance. The good way about this pathway is that you do your own homework. You don't have to submit any paperwork to us. It is up to you what kind of improvements you'll pursue. Next slide. Custom alternative compliance pathway plan. So this is the most difficult to achieve and also to work on. For this custom plan, it consists of 2 steps. So this is the plan for the buildings who have certain unique circumstances. For example, you are a history museum and you have archives in a basement where you have your special artifacts and humidity can only vary 3 degrees. What can you do? You can be only as energy efficient as your operation require. So your building is eligible to go custom way. Or if your building is historical or it's all glass building, that you can apply for this custom plan. The major dates. So we are accepting applications right now for eligibility because these custom plans we don't give to every building. If we deem that your building should be energy efficient and standard pathway, we will deny you. You can also appeal our decision to our board, and there could be 2 appeals on eligibility or actual plan. Another requirement of this plan is either to go through ASHRAE level 2 energy audit or go through retro commissioning plan. So this is the major requirement. ASHRAE level 2 audit or retro commissioning plan. When you're gonna write us the plan, we do have a template we would like building owners to follow. You have to outline the findings of the audit, which projects you're intending to do. You have to set up a milestone, the timeline. Ideally, we don't want to see these plans longer than 3 years. And also we would like to know the financing. Are you using your own funding or using companies as PACE to get the financing right? There are many options for you, but we would like to know how you're going to pay for these improvements. Also, we would like building owners to understand that this is a binding agreement between city and building owner. So if the building gets sold, the agreement stays with the building and goes to new owner. Next slide. Okay, so what building owners should do next? You need to, first, each building owner needs to understand their building performance. How to check your building performance? You can log into your Energy Star portfolio management. That's EPA website. This is what you use to input all your energy usage to us. Or you can go on our website, stlbenchmarking.com, and you can find the file where it shows you latest reported EY data to us. Then you find a BEPS target for your property type and to see if you're compliant, if you are on the track to comply or not. If you have any questions regarding that, reach out to us, we will figure it out. Also, please understand different pathway plans. What is the most suitable for you, which you would like to pursue? No matter what you decide to do, and even if your building is energy efficient, we would like you to do on your own energy audit. We want you to have some kind of plan, secure financing, implement. If you do all of that and your building is still not performing as it should be, figure out what went wrong, do corrective action. Is this a tenant's behavior or automatic controls were turned off? So this is all up to you to figure out. Next slide. All right, so where we are standing right now, our benchmarking ordinance was put in place in 2018. So we are collecting benchmarking reports since 2018. Our best performing benchmarking year was year 2021, where our compliance rate is 89%. for last year, 2022, we are still accepting benchmarking reports, and our compliance rate as of last Friday is 72%. We still have around 50 buildings in manual review. What it means is if a building submit benchmarking report to us and we get any quality control issues, that could be honestly anything. It could be if the building didn't input energy usage on monthly basis instead of annual, or anything was omitted, we don't accept these reports. We would like to hear from you and fix those things. And once you do, resubmit again, and then you're in compliance with benchmarking. Very important dates. CACP eligibility is due this Friday, September 1st. So if your building is far away to meet BEPS target, please reach out to us. Tell us that any unique circumstances, maybe major equipment life cycles, or your building is historical, or it's all glass building. We don't know until we hear from you. So we would encourage you to apply for eligibility, and then we'll decide if your building is deemable for this pathway or not. Actual plans are due next year, June 1st, 2024. Also, I want to mention that we do have a nonprofit partner, which is Building Energy Exchange St. Louis. Our Office of Building Performance is enforcement and compliance office, but our partner Building Energy Exchange is a resource for building owners to connect with all the consultants and contractors. So there is a help for building or owners from Building Energy Exchange. Next. Okay, so what if you decide to do nothing and hide away from us and ignore us and do nothing? So what we're gonna do, we can issue fines up to $500 per day, or being part of the building division. And this is the only, we are the only unique office in that sense that being part of the operational team under building division, the way ordinance was written, we can revoke or not to issue new occupancy permits. And this is huge stick. We don't want to use, but if it's needed, we'll go that way. We would like to see building owners rather invest and spend money on actual improvements than paying fines to us. So this is a huge message that if there'll be a need, we'll not issue new occupancy permits. Next. Okay, so this is how you can get in touch with us. It's stlbenchmarking.com. The fastest way, if you need to talk to us, is book online consultation. We are pretty swamped with all the phone calls and emails, and it takes us right now 3 days to respond. So if you need any answers, as the deadline for eligibility is approaching this Friday, just book a consultation with us. That's the fastest way to get in touch with us, either with me or some of us from my team. You can also see the phone number right there with the email. Again, I'm KATARÍNA MICHALOVÁ, Office of Building Performance. Pleasure to have this presentation for everyone, and let us know.
Okay, so for our last session